Why do, Buckaroos? How the heck are you? It's cocktail hour, man. How are you? It's cocktail hour with the Beer Whisperer. Well, actually, cocktail hour typically is until 6, but we're just gonna, move it up just a few minutes today. Anyways, how the heck are you? So here's what I got here. It's kind of a riff on a Manhattan. It's not a Manhattan, but it's sort of inspired by a Manhattan, let's say, using what I have on hand and trying to come up with something different because I like to experiment with stuff. So I've got 1 ounce of Bushmills. As you can see, my Bushmills bottle up there. It's 1 ounce of the Captain Morgan Private Stock. If you can see that bottle up there. 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth. A few dashes of Reagan's Orange Bitters. Oh, I was going to put a cherry in here and I forgot. But we can live without that, huh? Since now I have to do a second one, add a little cherry juice and anyways. But that's what we got. But I haven't taken a drink yet, so let's see what we got here. Using my Maker's Mark. Well, how about that? Not bad at all. The addition of that rum adds some interesting flavors. Blends fine with Irish whiskey, near as I can tell. I don't know if it'll become a cocktail staple, but hey, I like to play around. You never know. You never know until you try, I say. Oh, mercy. Happy hour! Happy hour! Growing up, happy hour is typically between, I don't know, usually between the hours, somewhere in the afternoon. 3 to 6, 4 to 7, they tend to vary. Folks go right after work, have a couple cocktails right after work. Growing up, there was a little cocktail lounge, I don't know, just a couple minute drive from my house. Hell, I could walk in 10. It's called the Unicorn, but the locals always refer to it as the Horny Horse. You get it? Because that's, Anyway, yeah, they always called it the Horny Horse. Now, growing up, when I was a kid, my dad used to go in there every once in a while. It was more of an old school lounge, but when I became old enough to drink and go in there, it sort of evolved. The clientele got a little younger, obviously, because I was going there. But yeah, I mean, it was mostly an older school lounge originally. It became more of a singles bar at that point. And then across the street from there was a little beer bar called the Humdinger. Humdinger was what was referred to back then as a go-go bar. Wasn't a strip club. They didn't take off clothes, but you had girls wearing lingerie. All the private parts had to be covered. You weren't even supposed to show nipplage, although some did. But then they danced. That was a little, there were various sizes, but this was a very small one. There was one stage. I actually wasn't even a stage. It was just like, a little square thing. They stand there and do the go-go thing. I used to go there every once in a while after I turned 21. Mostly because it was the closest bar to the house, if you don't know the honest truth. And the other bars that were somewhat close were more, old people bars at the time. The kind of bars I really like now, but I'm an old person. Oh, yeah, I do like them old school bars now, boy. Because I like to go into a bar where I can just have a beer or a drink. Where the music's on, but it's not so loud I have to yell to have a conversation or, strain to hear. Yeah, I want to hear some music, but I don't want to have to yell over it. I don't want it loud. I don't want to be hassled. I don't shoot pool. I don't play darts. When I sit to drink, I want to drink and bullshit. That's all I do. So I don't need a pool table. I don't need a dartboard. That's not what I'm there for. Drinking bullshit. I'm an old school guy through and through, man. My dad was primarily a bourbon drinker. Going out, he'd almost exclusively order Jim Beam and water. That time they put a few ice cubes in. It was served in a short highball glass. Dad liked a short highball glass. There's always that common misconception: short highball glass, tall highball glass. Folks order a tall, think they're getting more liquor. No, you're not getting more liquor. You're getting more mixer. You can order a double in a short or a tall. So if you order a double tall, you're getting more liquor, but you can order a double short. You're just going to get less mixer. So you typically had to, and Dad knew people back in the day when you go to the bars, you know, he spent a lot of time at American Legions, for instance. And of course, I mean, they all knew him there, so he would typically get a better drink than the average Joe that walked in there. So Dad would order Jim Beam and water, for instance. They give him a small cylindrical glass. They put some ice cubes in. They put the whiskey in. There was typically about this much room left in the glass. So I mean, it was basically a, you know, it was basically a splash water from the gun there. They had the old gun. So that's how that was done back in the day. Home Dad would drink anything from typically Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, or Wild Turkey was typically what he stayed with. But I don't. Going out, he almost always ordered Jim Beam. Off the top of my head, I can't remember a time where he ordered anything else out. He never ordered well bourbon. And to be quite frankly with you, typically well bourbon served back then are far better than well bourbons people serve today. But although, let's see, I'm thinking the Legion. The Legion at one time served Kessler as a well whiskey, because Kessler's not a bourbon. But that's what they would serve. Sorry about that. That's what they would serve over well bourbon. Then at some point they switched over to 10 High, which is just god awful. But as bad as 10 High is, there are certainly worse well bourbons out there. But then again, I mean, if you're gonna put Coke, soda pop, you're gonna put any kind of soda in there, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're buying good whiskey and put soda pop in, you're an idiot, man. You're one of those folks that has more money than sense, man. You might as well drink well whiskey and have another drink, man. You'll have enough money for one extra drink if you order the well whiskey. St. Pat is very interesting. Actually, I might try to do this again and take out the sweet vermouth, because that rum, that private stock spiced rum, really adds a little bit of sweetness. So some people might want that extra sweetness of the sweet vermouth. Myself, I'm going to try one without, just to see what it does, because I don't know that I personally need that extra sweetness. I'm just not a sweet drink kind of guy. So at one time I liked an old-fashioned, but now I drink them now and they're just too sweet for me, especially ordering them out. I just don't like it the way they're made these days. Now Manhattan. Now we're talking about a cocktail. Turn around, let him go. I'm cranking my music here, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Don't Do Me Like That just came on. Gotta miss Tom. Talk like I know him here for a second. We've never met, man. But I feel sort of a spiritual kinship. Anyways, yeah. I told a story on a video yesterday. I mean, I can remember exactly the moment that I decided to buy Tom Petty's second album, You Were Gonna Get It. I mean, I was driving in a car with my cousin, and I Need to Know came on. First time I heard that song, and as soon as I got home, I counted up all my change, ran myself down to the pier, not actually a pier, but the record store called Pier Records. It's called The Pier technically. We always just refer to it as Pier Records. It's about a 10-minute walk from my house, man. So yeah, that's my story buying that one. I can't tell a story about every album I ever bought, but I do. There's a lot of them I remember that exact moment going into the record store, or if not going to the record store, the exact moment when I decided I was going to buy the album. You know, music meant that much to me as a kid. I don't know if you can hear the music, so if you can, it looks like I'm dancing to nothing. I'm chair dancing, man. I got the wiggles. Try and do that John Belushi thing, but I can't quite get there. I get that one eyebrow up. I can't quite get it. Anyways, I digress. So, hey, I'm the Whiskey Whisperer. Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, Purveyor of Wisdom, and all around good guy. You all have a good one. Ah, biscuits and gravy.